Alrighty, guys. So welcome back. I hope if you guys had a chance to check out my Mythic Plus Workshop stream, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Overall, I thought it was a pretty good success, and I think I want to do more of those moving into the future. Maybe once every couple weeks, maybe once a month, depending on my availability or whatever real-life obligations I have surrounding it. I'm going to be announcing more of them whenever I am free, though. Overall, I thought it was pretty fun, and I enjoyed it. Big shout out to Rotto for helping me out. If you like, you can check out his Twitch. It's Rotto, ROTTO_. So make sure to check that out. That's always super helpful for him. And make sure to check out my stuff in the description, my Patreon, my Discord, my Twitch, all that stuff. And let's just jump into this King's Rest 18. Turn the volume off. So basically, with this King's Rest, what are some of the things that you should be looking to see? Like, so realistically,
well, first of all, he made a really interesting choice in going Cool Tehran. That right there, that like stuck out as like a really big thumb.
Yeah, he's very thick.
Yeah, I mean, also with the loss of Shadow Meld, this key is like unnecessarily harder than it should be for the
they don't have Shroud and they don't have Shadow Meld. Like, he would be able to Shadow Meld everything on Machemba, right? He'd be able to Shadow Meld like the Drain Fluids and all that other stuff. So him not playing
Drain Fluids and shit.
Him not being Night Elf is definitely interesting. He's also playing Shooting Stars. So what do you think about Shooting Stars in King's Rest?
I think Shooting Stars, it's actually a pretty good talent to choose. It's like, it's kind of like that baseline talent. If you're not really comfortable in using FOE to its like max ability in a dungeon like KR, where there's a lot of 1 to 2 target cleave, sometimes a bit of 5 target cleave, I think it's a really good choice.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's realistically usable in King's Rest for sure. I think there are some dungeons that's usable, similar to like Underrot or Seth Rallis, where you can play Shooting Stars. But I think beyond that, dungeons wise, you probably should be sticking to Fury Balloon.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So we see his first Incarn of the dungeon. Obviously, that's a pretty good Incarn, and you do actually see him single targeting down this Witchborn Doctor, which is the most important mob in this pack. Making sure that that Doctor dies is pretty good. Dude, the first time I watched Vec this, I saw them killing the minions because they didn't have Belf. I was like, oh, this is very unfortunate.
Yeah, I mean, what they could do is have the Demon Hunter just purge it, but I feel
single
like
target
really
purge, just one at a time. Like,
yeah, it's kind of bad.
Yeah, they don't really have any options realistically in terms of what they should be looking to do. The double Druid group for KR seems pretty good too, especially for all the soothes during raging and everything else. So that seems pretty good.
It does. The soothes are pretty trivial as long as you like know when to soothe
or what mobs to soothe is most of it.
Too hard.
Yeah.
Yep.
I was watching through a Motherlode. Like, Motherlode's actually one of the most like difficult dungeons in terms of like trying to figure out what target priority to soothe. But beyond that, King's Rest, you can honestly just soothe on cooldown and you'll probably be okay.
Yeah, it's anything that fucks your tank up or anything that messes with your raiders.
Yeah, we actually see him also single targeting down this other Witch Doctor, which I think he's been doing a pretty good job of being able to just make sure that he has good priority damage on the Witch Doctors, because these two warriors don't do a ton, especially compared to the Witch Doctor damage.
Yeah, they're kind of AFK trash mobs. You can kite most of their damage away anyways, so
yeah,
it's not really a big deal. What I do notice, they were running a pretty interesting comp. Witch Doctors seem pretty tough to like coordinate with your kicks.
Yeah, with just
double casters.
Yeah, with double caster. I think that just means that they're not able to kick as many Deathly Chills as they would normally like. I think with double melee, you're actually able to double melee plus a tank. You're actually able to get every single Deathly Chill, right?
Yep, every Deathly Chill, and then the Boomkin saves for
the Shadow Bolt volley.
Shadow Bolt.
Yeah, I mean that's obviously optimal, but Mage Moonkin is actually not a bad comp in this dungeon. You should end up having to dodge some of the Deathly Chill and the tornadoes, but just making sure that your tank can actually spell reflect the Deathly Chill, so it's probably not the worst thing. You just make sure that you rotate spell reflect and whenever you don't have a kick for the chill. How big of a deal is it for you to soothe the champion's own personal enrage as opposed to like the raging debuff?
It's a very big deal.
Okay, so
if he gets double, it's a one shot.
Well, yeah, if he gets both of them, then it's a one shot. So you see him getting his own personal enrage, and then he gets pretty instantly soothed. So something that we're gonna notice here is he's actually gonna elect to not use treants on this first reaping pack. Do you think that so I think that this is wrong, but do you think that there's any merit in the holding trees here?
No, it's I first thought that he was going to drag the ads into the boss, so that's like my first assumption
Oh
when I see him
yeah,
holding trees.
if he's holding trees
Otherwise,
to
getting another
drag,
use is always better.
yeah, dragging the ads into the boss, that would be sick for using trees. But he ends up holding them, and I think trees are actually one of those things that you could pretty much use on cooldown unless you're holding them with like pretty explicit intent to use them on like something very important. I mean, honestly, it's not going to make that big of a damage differential, though, realistically, right?
No, definitely not. Just a bit more AP gain.
Yeah. I mean, this is a good second incarn. Dude, honestly, King's Rest is a sick dungeon for Moon.
Yeah, KR and Temple, those are like our homes, and sometimes Motherlode.
I think we're also pretty good in Tildagor.
TD, yeah, I mean,
that's just because of how you do Tildagor right now.
If you don't look at overall, yeah, definitely.
Well, I mean, dude, if you look at overall, you're gonna see the rogue and the cannon. Like,
Yeah.
what? All right, yeah, you're not looking at overall.
I mean, plus blacklist that spell.
I mean, plus we're like realistically like unkillable in the Golden Serpent too, just because of how Swiftmend and everything works. You actually see him have double Ursoc's endurance, so he's actually unkillable if he has Barkskin up.
Wow,
dude, he's sitting here. He's sitting here killing the ads with a Frost Mage in his group.
I don't think that's a really good choice. Yeah. It's a pretty big DPS gain for the Frost Mage if those live for a bit. I mean,
it's a damage loss. Like, it's a single target damage loss for him. I mean, he's surging them, so that's like a big deal. He shouldn't be dotting them either. Like, dotting them is also damage loss too.
I think he should just be typhooning, really, if he's going to be if they're going to be killing them.
Mm-hmm. He seems Swiftmend himself to top himself, and then he goes bear. Oh man, look at that cool Tyrion bear model.
Yeah, he could have shadow melded that spit gold.
Exactly. I don't think
I actually
don't think he needed to go bear there, but whatever, it worked out. I mean, I guess dying is like the only like dying is pretty bad on this fight. But this fight ends up dragging out for forever because he ends up wasting a lot of damage on the gold, I think.
Yeah, he also gets LOS'd a few times, which is
Monk ass.
Yeah, that boss movement.
Yeah, they don't need to be moving the boss like at all. They're actually really good about dropping these golds in a good spot. That was something I noticed whenever I watched it through the first time, is that they were actually just like super sick about dropping the animated gold in a good spot.
I mean, that's with their comp, that's like the only thing they really need to focus on, especially if you're not running mass roots.
Yeah, I mean, there's no need for mass root with a Frost Mage. You can just run double Typhoon. Like, there is no need for mass root with a Frost Mage.
Yep. I mean, it's 2 roots, for God's sake.
Yeah. Oh man, he's getting really low.
Yeah, I would have opted to go for renewal in this dungeon, pretty much on any level.
So I actually like renewal. I think renewal is definitely better in this dungeon. I actually think you're 100% correct. I actually am so bad with playing with renewal though that I cannot play it in this dungeon.
Oh, just always do it the last tick. Always.
I mean, no. It's not. I either forget to use it or I try to wild charge.
Oh my god!
And I'm just like, oh, I have renewal, and I like renewal at like full health because I'm sitting there trying to wild charge, and I'm like, that was not what I was going for.
Yeah, Machimba really sucks without charge.
Machimba is okay without charge as long as you as long as you are holy shit! Excellent, pause me. Excellent. Look at that full screen. Machimba's actually okay without charge as long as you're getting topped out of the drained fluid quick enough, and with Swiftmend and renewal, you should definitely have plenty of healing to get topped out of that. Dude, double Ursoc's endurance actually makes this guy so tanky. So.
Yeah, I haven't actually unlocked my second defensive
Wait, really?
trait yet.
That sucks so bad. I have 2 resounding and 1 Ursox, and I'm actually just like,
yeah, that is tanky.
Yeah, it's like, oh. He does a good job of using Incarn on cooldown there.
Yeah, he's using it at the right places, which is pretty much in KR just on cooldown. You use it on cooldown, it'll always line up with the bosses.
Dude, for most dungeons, it's like on cooldown. Like sitting there, sitting there using Incarn on cooldown is normally okay as long as you're getting good value and you're hitting the correct targets. You actually see him electing to Starfall here. I think he should honestly just be pounding King of Coal, even though he doesn't have cooldowns or anything. I think the Demon Hunter and the Frost Mage get enough passive cleave from Frozen Orb, from Blizzard, from Eye Beam, from Death Sweep, all that stuff, that you're able to actually just sit there and single target down the mini boss. And I think it'll save you a couple seconds worth of time. I don't think it's going to be like make or break a key, but I do think it'll end up saving you like 3 or 4 seconds. There is an alternative point where you could say that the pack needs to die like insta because he's going to be getting high stacks of necrotic, but you do see the tank electing to kite anyway, so I don't think it ended up mattering.
Yep. I also would have saved Treants for the 30% raging there, just so you can have the mob stand still a bit longer.
I mean, I think it depends on when the tank really wants it. I think for that it's like fine to use it early, especially if the tank is already, because there's like what 6 mobs in that pack, so you're kind of concerned with getting the tank super high on stacks really quick. So it's either you kite early or you kite late. I think kiting later and using Trents a little bit earlier is normally a little bit better.
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't like the idea. I find reaping just really scary, especially with with groups that don't have slows. But obviously, their group definitely has a ton of stuns and slows.
Dude, I never actually find reaping that scary. Like, I think most people just get intimidated by the size of the pack itself. They don't really worry about how much reaping is doing. Raging. Oh, raging! You said reaping. I was like,
No, I meant raging.
I mean, yeah, raging can insta-kill your tank if it's on like the right targets. So something you're going to actually see them doing on this next pull is they're going to be alternating knocks on the lightning rod during the reaping. This is honestly like one of the worst packs to get during the reaping, but it's not that big of a deal as long as you're able to make sure that you're focusing down the King Rakul or whatever his name is, and make sure that you knock his lightning rod. You actually have to make sure that it ticks for 1 tick first before knocking it. I think you see the Resto Druid knock it first, and then we're going to see the Boomkin knocking it second. We see Incarn used on cooldown here. I think this is a really good use of Incarn.
Yep. He should have it for the either double constructs or the boss.
He's going to have it for the boss. I think he ends up getting it back up for the double construct, but I think I don't remember exactly. He does end up having it at a good time though. Reaping and necrotic actually kind of sucks. Even though the mobs don't stack necrotic, if you're pulling it into another pack and you're already high on necrotic stacks, it can actually be pretty spooky.
Yeah, it gets bad.
I mean, your tank just ends up getting pounded with the damage taken buff. Yeah, overall, I think they've been making pretty good time. I would be tagging these critters right here to try to pause AP, but it's just a super minor thing that's actually not that big of a deal. Do you think Full Tehran is actually worth in any dungeon?
No, not at all. Like, I just don't see uses for the racials over Shadow Meld. Shadow Meld is probably one of the strongest defensives you can have in a key right now.
Yeah, it's pretty stupid. I mean, there's also the fact that you can just run a non-rogue comp too.
Yep.
Because you have Shadow Meld.
It gives you so many more options for your composition, like based on dungeons. Obviously, rogues have pretty insane damage, so there's no really points where you want.
Alright, yeah, that is also true. Rogue does own.
You see that, like, Vanish plus Meld plus like Cloak, it gets ridiculous.
Yeah, Vanish, Meld, Cloak. I mean, Distract is also like a stupid button. Like the fact that you're able to create like all these classes with Shroud buff or lesser stealth like Druids have, and just allow them to walk through mobs with Distract and Sap is like, what is going on? Man. The only class I think that's worse than Moonkin at killing these embalming fluids is Frost Mage.
Yeah, I mean, he could stand still, like tank a few stacks, and then
that's not worth.
Out. Yeah, I'd try that. It gets scary, man.
You can bear shift it, right?
You can just unshift from Moonkin form.
Are you expecting a decent amount of Nelf teams in the MDI? Somebody just asked in chat.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah,
I don't see why you wouldn't.
I don't see why you'd actually play Horde outside of like, unless you believe that Arcane Torrent was like significantly superior for some reason. or if you were playing some classes that did not have the option to be Nelf, you would be Horde at some point. Is MDI reaping, or are they bringing Infested back in? If they brought Infested back in, I would literally just not play.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people would play.
Dude, that would be so bad if it was both seasonal affixes.
That'd be pretty cool. I mean, I wouldn't. I mean, especially with like Night Elf, if you like mess up one time, you just Shadow Meld it. Just full group Shadow Meld. You skip a reaping.
Yeah. But yeah, no, all 5 members have to be Night Elf, which is like it limits your tanks because only like because Pally can't be Night Elf, right?
No, but warrior tanks can. That's all that matters.
Warrior tanks of Blood Death Knights can, so I guess that's all that matters. I actually like how they're doing the double construct here. So basically, the person who's closest to the sarcophagus, whenever the entomb from the construct gets cast, is where the person gets entombed. So that's when they're doing double construct here. He actually ended up using his Incarn on the double construct pack, which I don't think there's a bad use on either the boss or the double construct pack, because I think it'll be back up for the boss.
Yeah, he'll get 1 use on the boss either way, so...
Yeah, Shadow Smash but rarely live, so it's a good... Yeah, I mean, he's going to get 1 use on the boss regardless, and that's why using like Incarn on cooldown's super important, because even though it's not going to be up for Bloodlust, the damage gained from having like a second use of Incarn is significantly superior. He should definitely be using trees here too.
Yeah, I think he's overvaluing the amount of damage trees does on single target.
I mean,
as opposed to just getting another use off.
Yeah, I mean, like you also get 20 astral power whenever you pop him, so it's not like it's not like a ton of damage, but at the same time, like if he's holding it with intent, I can get it, but he's just sitting there and he's waiting for it. Where on like reaping, so Proud Warrior tank actually kind of is not like the greatest at reaping all the time. Like if they have like a lot of cooldowns and they have like if they have all their cooldowns and everything, then they're pretty good at tanking reaping, but if they don't have anything, then they're pretty bad. So you start off the pull with Trents and let them kind of sit there for a second, and then they pop all their cooldowns, and then you're good to go. And then the tank is able to stand in melee DPSing the whole entire time. So it's not just about the Trent damage, it's also about the tank damage that's being missed out on. You actually see the mage invis the drain fluid there. That was pretty sick.
Yep, and when you do that, I think you always want to drain like the last tick, so the tank doesn't really have to worry about taking the fat melees that she dishes out.
I don't think mage has like a really good option.
Yeah, they just kind of.
He just invises and then it falls off.
Okay.
I'm hoping for Vengeance tank to come back this season. All right, dude. Let's not get our hopes up.
Yeah, it's not. Don't know about that.
That tank is pretty trash right now.
I would have chose to stay outside of the group on the other side.
I would too, because
kind of
well, I mean,
follow along.
Where's their mage? Oh, their mage is in melee too. So if he actually if they got entombed on the far side here, that's probably not the greatest thing, especially if it's the demon hunter that gets entombed. Then they're gonna have to like hoof it pretty far, but they end up actually being in an okay spot for breaking somebody out who's on the right side. You actually see him kind of troll with his Incarn here. He should have instantly bark-skinned in order to be able to get the Ursoc's endurance shield in order to mitigate some of the drain ticks, and then he swiftmans himself. And he ends up like trolling with like the last 10 seconds of the Incarn here. See him running around in cat form and stuff, trying to break his friend out, even though the Demon Hunter's already running at the tomb.
Yeah, I don't think they might not have like properly coordinated who's getting what.
I mean, yeah, it's fine. It's like it's unfortunate that that ended up happening, but like obviously not the greatest thing. It's not going to be like make or break, but you probably don't want to be using your Incarn whenever you see the Entomb coming out in a couple seconds. Like obviously the Drain Fluid, there's nothing you can do about that. Like if you have to Swiftman yourself, you have to Swiftman yourself. There's not really too much of an option. He ends up doing 25k DPS anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, I mean the boss dies no matter what, basically.
Yeah, that boss is like a pretty bad patchwork fight. Then we got Council next, which is like the world's worst fight.
I wonder if we'll see him jumping off the side and while charging back in.
Do you think that is, dude? That always spooks me out. Do you think that's consistent enough?
Not really. No.
I mean, it is a thing, right? I mean, it's like super. It's super cool in terms of like being able to dodge the charge damage and making sure that your group doesn't get any damage taken. But at the same time, I don't think it's worth like the risk because there's inherent risk of you just missing your charge and falling off. There's also the inherent risk of you just charging too early and getting hit by the knock and then dying. Oh man, you see him get the bleed too. That's not sick.
Yeah, that's not fun.
They should definitely be using Water Rally to bait the bleed from the Berserkers. Actually, I don't mind this comp in this dungeon. Frostmage Moonkin is actually not that bad. Frostmage has a lot of utility for this dungeon because you got kites, you got treants and Water Rally for soaking the bleeds. You have Demon Hunter because Demon Hunter's sick.
The only thing is, like, I don't really know how they're gonna skip some of their percent.
They end up in Vizpot. Well, they end up like so all like 3 of them have stealth, right? And then they end up using double Invispot, and then they death skip the second on the way back.
Oh, okay.
Which Invispot's better than dying and rezzing time wise. So I don't think they're wrong with their intent, but yeah, it does cost you, and it does end up costing you like just 30 or 40 seconds innately just by not having a rogue just for one skip, right?
Yep.
Which is very cool. I love rogue. It's a sick class.
It's broken, man.
I mean, like, it's the only issue with it is that Shroud just does not exist on any other class except for rogue. The warrior regime needs to die. This is the first time warrior's ever been good. We've had Blood Death Knight meta for like four out of the 5 seasons at this point. Oh man, you see him getting the bleed again. I mean, he ends up barking it, so he ends up actually taking no damage because he has passive physical mitigation from Moonkin form plus Bark Skin, so he's like okay-ish, but obviously that is not optimal. Oh
wow,
man,
the tank just got dude, he got touched.
I don't know how long his trents were up for.
It should be a bit longer. I mean,
I think that was
on
an
a berserking pack, not very long.
I think that was an enraged Hex Priest cast that insta killed him.
That's what it looks like.
I think it was like just the first one and just like insta killed him, which is unfortunate. I guess you have to just be a little bit quicker on your soothe there, or if there wasn't even an option to soothe. I mean, that just sucks. Like, just unlucky. I mean, sometimes stuff like that happens where it's just like super unlucky.
I mean, they're not pairing their reaping with any mobs, which, I mean, their tank looks super fine right now.
Yeah, no, they should definitely be pairing it with the brute. I mean, the brute doesn't actually do anything. I mean, I guess he's kind of. I don't think I'd pair it with like the marksman and the. I don't think I'd pair it with the other mobs, but I do think it's fine to pair it with the brute. Like, I don't think I'd pair it with like the hex or the marksman because then you end up having to kite a bunch, or the berserker, right? Because you end up having to kite the pack a bunch in your melee. I guess you only have one melee. So
yeah. I mean, if you have a DK, it's pretty fine just because you can take you have the choice of taking the berserker and just leaving him out of the pack.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, you would end up having to root the berserker out if you wanted to pair it up with the pack after this, because the hexer's fine as long as you're getting kicks, and like Demon Hunter has range. You have like a couple ranged kicks, but I don't think you do want to do it. Oh, they don't even have the berserker pack up. They just have the priest beastmaster.
Yeah, they killed it beforehand. That's what proc the reaping.
Oh yeah. No, so they should actually. See, they 100% should have done it together. You're 100% correct.
Another cool thing about Shadow Meld is every 2 minutes on trash packs you get a free pot.
You actually see him mess up his wild charge skip here. You have to wild charge that headhunter in order to be able to not aggro those mobs if you don't have a distract or a sap or something.
Yep, our stealth's just way too weak to be able to do anything cool like that.
Do you think cool tier and racial is actually just like ever useful? I so I was playing around with it whenever we got swapped on Rosticon or whatever, and I didn't realize you had to be like in melee.
Yeah, it's literally a melee stun. I don't see
So
any
bad.
uses of it.
Yeah, we're
It's
actually
like a mighty bash.
yeah, man. Like maybe for melee classes it's worth, but it's not great. You actually see their tank get double bleed and then he trends, which is fine as long as the tank has cooldowns. But you actually see him use an Incarn on this pack but Kala the Blade Master woman is actually the first boss. So I think he should have held Incarn since she's
I agree with that.
since she's the only scary mob of the whole entire pack, right?
I mean, she's like one of the only scary mobs. She's one of the 2 mobs that could just wipe your group.
Yeah, her and Zul basically is worth actually holding for. Like in King's Rest, it's mostly fine to just use Incarn on cooldown, but you really should be making sure that you're holding for Kala and Zul.
Yeah, she's one of those bosses where you on a higher key you will need Bloodlust, you will need Incarn, you'll need everything up for this. Just one boss.
I mean, this fight also sucks because it's like really movement heavy, so making sure that you're able to really front load your damage with Incarn is super important too. I mean, obviously Arcanic Pulsar and triple streaking, he's not going to do bad single target damage, but not exactly what he was hoping for. Nothing beats Night Elf. Yeah, dude, for Alliance, nothing beats Night Elf. I actually really like this guy's UI too. Actually, whenever I was watching the VODs back, I actually didn't see a UI that I thought was bad. I thought all of them were pretty good. Yo, is there ever any merit for Worgen, Rotto?
Well, the next raid has a ton of shadow damage in it, so if you want that 1% DR, I know my boy Birchon definitely went Worgen.
Wait, Birch is Worgen, really?
Yeah, for the next raid.
Oh
man.
no, dude, why?
I don't know, man.
Dude, we actually whenever we were 4 Night Elves and a Worgen for Nelth Lair last MDI because our tank wanted Dark Flight for the movement speed. It was insane. It was actually actually good, but it was actually one of just the most troll things I've ever seen. He would Sky Step Potion into Dark Flight pull like in Nelth, and it was actually good, but it was like one of those things where it's super troll to see it the first time.
Yeah, I don't see anything wrong with like tanks being. I know tanks don't really need specific racials other than maybe if you have the option to be a dwarf.
A dwarf is what you said?
Yeah, they can remove like poisons and bleeds and shit.
Yeah, escape artists can remove poisons and bleeds. Yeah, can I don't know what tanks can actually be dwarf. Dwarf is a good racial though.
It's pretty much only DK, I think.
Oh yeah, Dark Iron Dwarf is also good. Only DK, whatever. I mean, what do most DKs on Alliance play? Just Night Elf? Lightforge Draenei? What is actually his Lightforge Draenei racial?
Oh my god, it is so strong.
What is it?
It was so strong. Basically, it's an AoE spell. That's it.
Like
Just
an AoE
spell.
damage spell?
Oh yeah, and it's pretty pog. Like if you could be Lightforge Draenei in season 1, you want to be Lightforge Draenei.
Lightforge Draenei Prot Warrior max dam?
Dude, it's insane.
Dude, they're coming for Moonkin overall with with their reaping pad.
Yep. It's like fuck, like classes that have really bad threat gen, like prop pallies, just go like Forge Draenei, dude. There's your threat gen every couple minutes.
I mean, yeah, probably has threat gen issues for other reasons, but yeah.
Kind of wondering how they deal with the totems. Obviously, you focused on the explosive totem first, but
The
I
explosive
see
totem.
group splitting damage after.
Well, dude, Frostmage and Moonkin can like insta kill an explosive totem.
Yeah, just double surge it. It's just gone.
Yeah, no, like if your Frostmage ends up prepping a GS or has any Lance procs, and you have 2 surges, the thing just like gets instantly killed. During a +10 carry, I was out DPS'd overall by a Prot Warrior. That sounds about right, actually. I am not surprised.
Pretty sure you can just go double prot with 1 healer, and you can just do the like craziest pulls.
Why do you need a healer?
True, I didn't really think about that.
What do you even need a healer for on like a 10? Like, I mean, this fight's a meme now. Like once you like, do you think that this is the best rotation? What do you think the best rotation for KR is? I think it's this one, right?
It's this one. Oh, as long as the axe bitch is first.
Yeah.
So I guess this is like the only rotation. I mean, if she's second, that's fine.
I mean, I guess Totem Woman would be better second, and then Charge Person would be better third, but because you don't want to get the barrel, you don't want to get the barrel through during the elements.
Yeah, but you won't really get hit by that as in like an alliance team.
Can you
nelf that? Can invis it. Yeah, you can nelf it. It just goes away.
All right, dude. I'm going to alliance. This game sucks.
Like Nelf is actually just broken.
Dude, he ends up using his end card for like the last 5 seconds of the fight. That's such a waste, especially since Zool is like the next pull. Wait, you can meld the AoE from the last boss? What is that race?
Oh yeah, you can meld the jump, but I wouldn't do it because it recasts. You can just wild charge.
Yeah,
like if you really need to get by.
I mean, dude, or you can just bark skin 1, bear tank second.
Yeah, bear tank with renewal.
But yeah, dude, he definitely should not have used his end card in there. Like the last 5 seconds of the fight is 100% like this mob Shadow of Zul sucks. Like this guy owns your tank, especially during Necro. Like your tank is actually just gonna get wrecked.
I mean, either way, he's not gonna get another use out of his incarn.
Yeah,
he's only gonna get 1 off.
So he's only gonna get. So he would get 1 on Zool, and then they kill Reaping, and then he would get 1 more on the last boss, like halfway through the last boss, as opposed to 5 seconds on the 3rd boss, nothing on Zool, and then like almost on pull with Lust, but so it's not worth. But yeah, dude, they're soaking the pool? No! So you can actually outrange that pool. Dude, the range of that pool is literally like 10 yards.
10 yards!
You see him soak him, just like, no, dude!
I don't know why it's even in like the game, dude.
Well, it used to be like 30.
So pointless.
It used to be like 30. No, dude, they're soaking it. It does so much damage, too.
Oh, this is the scariest moment of the fight. Ow! Raging barrage, dude.
Insta-soothe. Dude, you definitely don't want to get hit by that. I think that like insta kills your tank, probably.
No, he soaked one. He definitely soaked
he ate one of those?
Barrage.
Oh, no, dude.
Yeah.
Dude, I've actually been pushing a lot this week. Slowly catching up.
It's our week, man.
Wait, no, don't go soak that. Walk away from that. Thank you. Bad day, bad week, in a bad month.
With Lust, I would definitely take this with the boss. I think there's only 1 caster that they actually have to deal with.
Depends on healer's mana, but I think with double innervate, I think it's perfectly acceptable to tank it with the boss. I mean, the healer's at like 60% mana or so, but if he has like one of the regenerative mana potions, there's no issue. He would just pop it while the reaping spawning and just sit there for a second.
I think most resto druids always run with a 1 lively trait, just for that
Well, yeah,
5
just for
or
the mana gen.
0.5% regen.
Yeah, no, they all do, which is good because Resto Druid has like extreme mana issues in PvE if they don't have it. But yeah, no, I think I would agree. I think that they definitely should have tanked this with the boss. But I mean, overall, I think this key's been pretty good, especially for an 18. They've been playing it like really by the book, which I think they've been playing it too by the book, but they don't need to actually go super aggressive on an 18.
Yep. Um, there's a lot different. It changes a little bit on hierarchies, like at around like 21 to 20, or 20, 20 or 21 or higher.
Mm-hmm.
You are going to be able to get 2 incarns, like 2 full incarns off on every single boss. And at that point, you really have to make the choice of, do you want it on this boss and get 1 more use off throughout the dungeon, or do you want it for this like priority ad? That
I think still incarning. Okay, so I think on the bosses, I think it's fine to make sure that you have it up for Kala. That's obviously 100% important. For Machemba, if you're doing it with Reaping, I think it's fine to pop it like if you have like on pull or whatever you get Reaping, and then if you don't get a second one or whatever, maybe holding it for Reaping plus the boss is probably decent for Machemba. Golden Serpent, obviously, if you're just getting double loss, or double incarn, that's fine. And then for Dazar, I think it's better to use it on Zool, and then it lines up with the second Raptor that fears you.
Yep. Yep. I would. That's pretty much like.
So I think for Dazar, I think that's like almost 100% like the best strategy for how to use it is you use it on Zool. You do Reaping into the boss with Lust, and then you pop your incarn on this Raptor that we see on screen right here, which is fearing the whole entire group. Because your tank can, if you're playing with a Prot where you can Berserker raise the first one, but then he doesn't have anything for the second one, so he has to eat like an Iron Bark, and then have like Last Stand or Shield Wall up to make sure that he doesn't get like Blade comboed and instantly die during the fear.
Yep, I also would have saved their comp. Actually, none of their players are going to get a second incarn off, I don't think, or a second 3-minute off or 4 minutes. So I would have just saved it for that the ad set, because all the damage from Dazar gets redirected to. Yep, I would have saved Bloodlust and cooldowns.
Yeah, no,
just because cleave damage is so much better.
I mean, yeah, I don't think there's any reason to not save 3 minutes plus Bloodlust for that. I think you're actually right. I think it's actually a decent call. You actually see him like frame lag for a second, then instantly die.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
He should have been bear form for that charge. He actually got hit by the tornado and was a little bit low, and then he instantly got killed by the charge. He should have definitely been in bear form though. You actually see him doing a good job. Can you wild charge to negate the Quaking Leap? You can.
Yeah,
but
you can either charge or cat charge.
So it's risky if you don't have. Okay, so if you're not super comfortable with it, it's relatively risky if you don't have Bark Skin up, because either if you have Bark Skin up, it's normally not that big of an issue, but if you're eating it unmitigated outside of bear form, especially on a higher level key like an 18, a 19, a 20 or whatever, you might just like instantly get killed. So it's kind of a choice. I always just bear up and then like I'll alternate bear form and then just Bark Skin, and then I'll use NG Belt occasionally, just depending on how high or low my health is, or if I have a debuff like the tornado debuff or whatever else. You do end up getting a second incarn here. I don't know.
Whoa.
Is two incarns actually better though?
I think so. I mean, it saves you those like 10 or so seconds.
Is it better than damage to Zool?
No, definitely not. No.
Okay, so it's better to pop it on Zool and then pop it on P2 Dazar as opposed to on pull Dazar with Lust and last 30 seconds of Dazar.
I think on the third boss he lost like 20 seconds anyways.
Yeah.
So it's not even a full incarn. And this boss he lost 7 seconds. So
yeah.
Either way, not really gaining another incarn, you're gaining like half of an AP proc.
All right, so people are asking in chat about Star-Lord and Mythic Plus. Rotto, you want to talk about Star-Lord and Mythic Plus? Because you and I have gone back and forth on it, and I have an opinion on it that's differing from yours. So you can start.
On certain dungeons, I think it's actually a pretty good choice. Like the highest completed KR with the Boomkin is done with Star-Lord. I think it's like a 21 or 22.
Well, yeah, I mean, in KR,
Star-Lord on pretty much. Yeah, in like any dungeon, like Temple, I've been using it on Motherload even sometimes for fun.
Mm-hmm.
It's not it's not bad. It works. Like you can work with it. It's just that you have to play like pretty much perfectly the whole entire time.
Yeah, I mean, I think it definitely is useful in like King's Rest and like Under Rod and Seth Realis, but I think beyond that, I think it's kind of troll to take it anywhere else. Especially dungeons that require burst of some sort. I think generally Incarn is going to be tried and true. If you're bad with your cooldowns, then there is merit into not playing Incarn, but I think it's easier to get better at your cooldowns than to just kind of give up on it. Because I think if you're bad with your cooldowns, you're already bad with your cooldowns. I don't think it matters too much.
Yeah, I think like some dungeons, it just in Starlord just does not work.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's just either way too much trash that you're gonna be pulling throughout the dungeon, or there's just way too much movement or travel time.
All
Like
right.
dungeons like a Tall Dazar, Incarn, all the way.
Oh, dude, Ataldazar is so bad for Moonkin. I think that's by far like our worst dungeon. I think Ataldazar and Waycrest were just so bad at.